Okay, people, so this is my second video for the day. It is actually July 22nd, not the 20th, July 22nd, 2018. Anyway, I just got served again from CIBC Bank because I've been, talking to bank personnel about Shimei's so-called estate, and, the guy that I'm talking to, at one point, when they gave me the last notice on April 11th, I was at the teller telling this teller what his bank had done to Uncle John and his immediate family. And I was just saying, the bank fucking steals money. It is what it is. And next thing you know it, they're sending me something on the 11th, the day Shimei was murdered, to give them my evidence. Only I don't know how to list the evidence by myself. Shimei was helping me list the evidence, people. I gave him a whole bunch of things listed already that Shimei and I had done. Right? So he's got a list of a whole bunch of stuff. So I have to hand it over again, I guess. But then, Shimei died, right? And I've been dealing with that. I've been looking after Amari every day. Right? I've been still having to deal with that house with those people in there that are causing so much trouble. Right? Right? Going to court for Amari. Right? Having now to start going to doctors and stuff because we want to make sure he's okay, right? In terms of, being a late bloomer and whatnot. So anyway, list of documents, part 1, Schedule A. I guess this is their list of documents. I suppose it says here they have a recording, phone call recording of me, phone call recording of me in January, February, March, April 28th, and April 26th, right? This is the time when I tried to escalate it, people. I tried to escalate it. I tried to take it to a different department for them to find out what the hell happened to John and for them to see it for what it was in terms of a medical kidnapping, right? But of course they switched everything around because, they got what they wanted. They opened up their ghost account and did whatever they did. Here they've got me just listed as power of attorney since 1990, which is not true because on my, it says continuing enduring power of attorney. Well, maybe continuing, maybe not the enduring part, but continuing is equal to enduring if you look at under the Power of Attorney Act. But on February 20th of 2015, the day after Uncle John told me to go get a lawyer, Eleanor somehow appointed herself as enduring power of attorney. This is February 20th of 2015. And then she redid it again. Well, what she did is on the 20th of February 2015, she appointed herself as enduring power of attorney, even though I had continuing, which is equal to enduring power of attorney since 1990. Right? So she somehow got her name on there. And then in March, on the 17th of March, she added herself on as power of attorney, so they got that information. But you have to remember, I'm going to the bank, and the bank is only telling me that it's a dispute. They're not telling me who the party was I was disputing with. They said that allegations were made against me, and that if I wanted any information, I needed to go get a lawyer. They would not give me a copy of the original enduring, continuing power of attorney. They withheld that information from me for over a year until finally I met one nice manager who was kind enough to give it to me. Otherwise, I'd never have it today, people, because I'd have to go take it to a lawyer and the lawyer would have to fucking ask for the information. And because I can't afford to pay for a lawyer, none of that's going to happen. You know that, right? Because we don't have justice in Canada. We have the Congo. And then on January, February, March 26th of 2015, she added herself on again. Now, author, recipient. She put CIBC Bank as the recipient to the power of attorney on March 17th. And then on March 26th, she added herself through John somehow. Because remember, John had no ID. They took him to the bank, right? With no ID, trying to get into his account. accusing me of stealing all his money, stealing his bank, his ID, all this other shit, right? After they took him to Victoria and they put him into an emergency, severely sick, but they managed to get him out of there in March 26th. They took him to the bank, and John appointed Eleanor general power of attorney, because he had no choice, people. They were telling him that he needed money while he was sitting up at the Victoria General Hospital, right? And then email on March 31st, power of attorney, John Duncan, author, and then recipient, some Tracy McLean, whoever the hell that is. Report summary. January, February, March, April, May. May 5th, report summary. CIBC service commitment customer complaint. Judy Chorney. Because I was getting nothing but a fucking runaround by these people, right? It was just one big runaround. And then letter with attachment. Regard John Bernard Duncan medical records. And then it has the social worker's name with Fraser Health, the one that said that she was going to get John into convalescent care or at his sister's house by any means necessary on the 17th of February. 3 days, 4 days, 5 days before John disappeared. So they got his medical records. Fraser Health wouldn't give me and Uncle John those medical records, but they gave it to the social worker, and then the social worker gave it to the bank with a letter of attachment. Probably saying that I was hostile because we were fighting to get Uncle John physiotherapy, because they weren't giving it to him. Right? He wanted to come home, but they kept accusing him of being confused. Right? They kept him in a diaper pretty much the whole time that they had him. And he didn't like that. Right? But he didn't have a choice in that. So anything that and again, Shimei's not around to be a witness to this anymore, people. Shimei is gone. And if you notice, soon after I had that little conversation with this teller at this bank, that's when CIBC on April 11th served me with their papers, because he took his situation with me and went and complained to management, right? Plus, they got their video camera there. Because I said, just stand there and tell her, like, this bank steals money. It takes old people's money, Like, you guys, I don't know what you're thinking, but the problem hasn't gone away, right? I was having a bad day that day, people, right? Because I don't know what to do about this. Seriously, what, hand it all over to the cops? After what's happening with Shimei? Do I honestly feel comfortable with that? Knowing that judges also falsify their freaking transcripts when you do get in front of a judge? Like, come on, think about it. So anyway, and now that I'm discussing with the same person about settling Shimei's estate, saying, you need to go talk to whoever it is with the estate department and let them know that there's an active lawsuit being filed against this corporation, right? Because you want me to pay Shimei's credit card, but I can't even access Shimei's trust account because Uncle John was medically kidnapped and his assets were hijacked by some long-lost sister that showed up out of nowhere and took advantage of her senior position within the healthcare system and probably did some buy-offs with these immigrant workers that come in from all these different countries and want to stay in the country, so they better do as they're told. Plus, some of them are narcissists, right? They have really bad attitudes, like that nurse that practically killed me when I gave birth to Tisha, because for some reason some of these people just seem to think that they're so much better than everybody else, and because they're in positions of power, whether it's being a nurse in the healthcare system or whether it's being a social worker that came in from Britain or came in from somewhere, sitting up with working with all these old people, right? They're going to do what they want to do. They don't care who they hurt. They really don't, people. So I don't find this to be frightening. I really don't, because I want to get on with it. I just don't know how to put my hands around it. And I gave a copy of the list that was pretty much given to this lawyer for this CIBC bank, to the lawyer that's helping me with Amari, because he knows I tried to file lawsuits. He just couldn't help me with those lawsuits. So when I see him, I was hoping that maybe he could give me some advice how to present this properly to the court, because I'm lost, people, in terms of, I have to do everything by myself, right? Shimei's not here, not even to help me list the documents. Right? Which benefits the CIBC Bank and Fraser Health Authority. It benefits them for one less to help me. One less person to be a witness. One less person to say, yeah, I wanted to go to school, but I can't because I can't access the trust fund because Uncle John was medically kidnapped. And it's not because he didn't want Shimei to go to college or to have the money. It was because he was medically kidnapped, and under mind control, he was made to do things that he didn't want to do. And then his memory was removed from him just so that he couldn't himself be a witness while he was alive, if it ever got to court sooner. But it didn't get to court sooner because we know what happened. I was in my yard for almost a year and a half straight as the city was hounding me day after, week after week, month after month, right, to keep up with the complaint that whatever was being complained against me, just so that I would lose my house and lose my grandson. We, go back into my videos, people, and then it started up again last year in June. But I still have my grandson and I still have my house. And I still have the debt load, and I still have a trust account that I can never do anything with because these people have taken care of that problem in terms of putting it on lockdown so that they can continue on with their lives. And then it says February 28th, client notes, scheduled meeting. February 21st, client notes, scheduled meeting, author, and it just says Tracy so-and-so, Tracy so-and-so. It doesn't explain what it is, who's with, what it's regarding, it just says scheduled meeting. CD, I don't know what that means. CIBC phone, and this was January, February, March, April 22nd, CIBC phone call recording, Judy Chorney. So now we know for sure that the bank likes to record conversations when there's a conflict of interest or a complaint, right? Because they're there to protect themselves. They're not there to protect the public or their clients. I wish I would have recorded that conversation, people, because after that transcript was falsified with that judge, with that dismissal hearing, yes, right? Do you honestly think, with the technology that they have today, that, these guys are so corrupt that they wouldn't try and alter the transcript in terms of voice recording? Because they're the ones with the technology, not people like me. I can't even keep up with the paperwork, never mind trying to figure out how to change a video recording. Anyway, and then on the 28th, follow-up, phone call, recording, Judy Chorney, because the guy was arguing with me, right? Suggesting that I had been accused with elderly abuse. Nothing new, people, right? Then they bring in their case law with Fraser Health Authority that I somehow sexually abused a 14-year-old girl through the case law. Somehow it applied completely to Uncle John, and therefore it deserved to be thrown out of court because the duty of care was to the patient, not to the parents, or in Uncle John's case, to me as his representative and power of attorney under an enduring contract or continuing contract. Whatever. And then on the 27th, phone call recording, John Duncan. So January, February, March, April. So by April, Uncle John has been separated from his family, been told that he can't talk to us no more, right? Got punished for thinking about us, right? Was isolated in a hospital setting where he was held captive for days and months on end as he was being medicated without his knowledge, in the true context of, I'm sure by April he figured it out, but for the first couple of months while in the Surrey Memorial Hospital and the Yale Road Center, they were lying to us. They kept saying it was a calcium pill. So that when I'd ask him what was wrong with him, he didn't know, because in his mind, as far as he was concerned, he wasn't taking any drugs, pain medications. It was just a calcium pill. So, anyway, I don't know how long I have to deal with this, people. Like, I have court for Amari on August 15th of this month coming up. Right? Like I said, I've been looking after him every day. Right? Tisha helps me, obviously. Right? I've been doing yard work. If I take you through the yard, you'll be like, oh, it's really starting to look nice because I have to. Right? I'm doing laundry now. You know, I've been canning. You've been seeing that. Right? You know, I've been trying to take care of Shimei's business affairs in terms of I'm dealing with the bank now. Right? I'm not happy with the bank. I'm letting them know. And like, I'll pay the visa. If that's what they want, I'll pay the visa. Just like when Uncle John, if he would have died and we would have got stuck with his bills, the girls and I and Marcane, we all agreed that we'd chip in and pay down Uncle John's bills. We weren't going to just leave it fucking hanging. Right? We were willing to bury him, and we were willing to pay off his bills if it came down to that. So if I'm willing to do that with Uncle John, then I'm willing to do that for Shimei in terms of paying off her credit card with CIBC Bank. First, I got a little angry because, again, there are things on lockdown, right, because of that bank. Andre's trust account, Shimei's trust account, right? Credit cards still in his name that haven't been dealt with. For somebody that's so enduring power of attorney, general power of attorney, you know, up in the mix fucking 75 years later, right? With a social worker that came in from Britain, desperate to keep her job as she's on a freaking power trip, right? To send Uncle John off by any means necessary as they're accusing me of abusing him and stealing his fucking ID, even though all his ID is still sitting in the house. Like I said in my previous video, people, sooner or later it's going to have to go to court. So, as I am now having to deal with this, I'm going to keep this video short because I'm not going to get stressed out about it. I'm going to see it as good news, that things are moving along, right? That's how I'm going to see it, because really, I like CIBC Bank. It was a great bank. It got us through, people. That bank got Uncle John and I through for a freaking over 20 years. It helped to raise a family. It helped to found a foundation. You know what I mean? And then it turned around and it did something stupid like this. It destroyed the family, and it's basically destroying the foundation. You know, from one hand to the other. So, I don't see it as a bad thing. I just don't know how to wrap my mind around it so that I can get it all out at the right way, in the right way, at the right time, you know, with very limited resources, with nobody helping me. Shimei is gone. She can't even type out these things for me now. Tisha won't do it, and I'm worn out. But I'm going to have to find a way to freaking do it. And as I'm doing it, I'm going to start putting it all fucking together. I'm going to just run a bunch of freaking ink through my printer and print out as much as I can. And I'm going to get that whatever I need to get put together. Because I still don't really know what to put together in order to hand it to the Premier so he can hand it to the freaking Attorney General. So the Attorney General can hand it to the cops. And they can do that investigation. Well, CIBC Bank can partner up with freaking Fraser Health Authority, and they can both stand there in court and deal with this situation with me standing there by myself. Because that's what's going to probably end up happening. Because I don't have $80,000 or $100,000 worth of taxpayers' money to do the bidding of a corporation that is ultimately corrupt. Right? From one spectrum to the other. Corporation to corporation. My family is the victim to these corporations. So, that's it. That's all I got to say about that right now.